California dreaming about you.
Hey guys, SimCoder here, and today we are going to start working on our home screen. And yeah, we are just going to use a ViewPager for this with a grid view inside it. So it is going to be easy. We just have to create an adapter to connect everything. So, but yeah, we can just go on with it and see how it looks. So in this lesson, we'll just try to show a ViewPager with a grid view. We won't bother with the size of the items, we won't bother with any of that, so it might not look good by the end of the lesson, but it will be a functioning prototype and we can work upon it, and in next lessons we'll make it better, so don't worry. So let's go ahead and start. I'm going to open up our project. Here I am in the main activity, and the first thing that I'm going to do is to go inside of the activity main, and to do that you can simply hold Control and click on the activity main in the set content view. So here we are, we have the ViewPager in here, which I believe I already wrote down, so that's good, we don't have to do it. If you don't have it, then please do type it out. So it is a linear layout with a ViewPager inside it, and this is what we are going to use to display the grid view. So a ViewPager is basically just you can have multiple pages and swipe through them from left to right or right to left, wherever, and so it works just as the home screen is meant to work, and that's why I'm going to use it. And you can place things inside the ViewPager, so we'll create an adapter just for that. So let's go inside the main activity, and in here we are going to go into the onCreate method, and we are going to create a new function called Initialize Home. Okay, let's call it that. Create method Initialize Home. Okay, let's make it bigger. Okay, and now we are just simply going to sorry, so first of all we are going to create the ViewPager or connect the ViewPager to the backend. So let's say ViewPager, my ViewPager not equals to nothing. That's what we are going to do now. So let's copy this, go inside the Initialize Home and say mViewPager equals to find view by ID r.id.viewPager. Okay, and ViewPager is this thing right here, don't forget it. Okay, so now let's simply say set ViewPager.setAdapter new, and now we are going to already create the adapter, but okay, so let's say ViewPager Adapter, and this doesn't exist, so don't worry, we'll create it in a second, but for now it is good enough. So, and we'll just pass along this. Okay, so now let's go ahead and create the ViewPager adapter. So I'm going to grab that, go inside here, say new Java class ViewPager adapter. Okay, yeah, and we can simply go ahead and create it. So here we are, and now let's start developing our adapter. And remember, in here we have to take care of displaying the pages, the number of pages that we want to display, and we have to control which apps to display in our home screen through the adapter. That's why we have to create it. It helps us to connect everything. So now let's say extends Pager adapter, and now we have to implement some methods, so click Alt Enter Enter. Okay, and that's it. We'll also need a constructor which we'll use to call this adapter. So let's say public and give it the same name as the class, so ViewPager Adapter. And inside we simply say context context. And we'll need a couple more things, but for now let's just leave it with that. Let's create them as we need them. Let's go with that. Okay, content context. I believe this is that import. Yeah, it is. So make sure it is content.context, the import. Now let's simply create a context in here and say this dot context equals to context. Okay, so this constructor is called in here, and as you can see, it should no longer show an error, and we pass along the context of this activity, the main activity. So this is why we use it. It's just to pass along arguments between Java classes. Okay, so yeah, now we'll need another method which is called instantiate item. So let's just create it right now and say public object instantiate item, and it should appear to you, so you can simply click enter and it should create it for you. So this is exactly what we need, and this is where we'll control the items that are to be shown in the app. So let's start working with it. So layout inflator, and we are going to inflate the layout inside of the ViewPager. So let's say inflator, and keep in mind that, let me just rephrase this, each position that you see here is a position that is being shown or created. So the position corresponds to the number of the page number in the home screen. So you can be on the first page, you swipe left, then you are on the second page, you swipe left again, and you are in the third, so on and so forth. So that's what you have to understand about the adapter, and more importantly about the instantiate item method. So let's say inflator equals to layout, not this, so layout inflator dot from context, context being this variable right here. Okay, so now let's say view group layout, and now we'll inflate the layout, and we'll create that layout in a second. It is just a simple layout with a grid view, so nothing to worry about. View group inflator dot inflate, and I will say r.layout dot pager layout, and it should be with an error because we haven't created it yet, but don't worry, we'll do it in a second. So now let's say collection and false. Collection, it isn't called collection, it is called container, so I'm going to change that, and that's it. Okay, so now we can jump on and actually create the pager adapter. I believe that's what makes more sense. So let's go into our layout resource file, pager layout. Okay, going to text. I always prefer to work in the text environment rather than the how do you say it, with the design environment, because I believe it is much more straightforward. So, and I can work faster with it. So that's the way I do it. But you can do it in the design folder, design page. That's completely up to you. So now we are going to simply create a ViewPager. But because we already have a ViewPager, a grid view rather yet, in here, I'm just simply going to copy and paste it in the activity main. Let's say if the preview is working with us. It isn't, so, but don't worry. Okay, so I'm going to leave it at match parent, wrap content. Just simply going to call it grid because it isn't. Okay. Okay, num of columns, stretch, column width, gravity center. Okay, it is right. So we can now use these layouts inside our adapter, and we can inflate it. And as you can see, the error went away, so that's good. And now we are simply going to grab, let's say, final grid view, and let's grab the grid view. And to do that, it is somewhat different from what you do in the main activity, and you'll see why in a second. My grid view equals to layout, and this is important, dot find view by id r.id.grid. And it is different because you have to place the view group before the find view by id, otherwise it will give an error. Okay, so now what we can do is to simply call the adapter, attach an adapter to our grid view, which we have already created, and it is this app adapter. Okay, so that way we don't even need to take care of anything else. So let's simply grab it, say mGridView.setAdapter, and now we have to see what we need to pass along, and for that you can simply hold Control and hover over the app adapter. So we need the context, so let's say context, and we need an app list, which we'll pass along in a second. So yeah, so let's create the app list. Sorry, let's create the app list right now. And yeah, other than that, we are almost done. So I'm actually going to move just this return. I'm going to remove it and say return layouts, and say container.add view layout. Okay, so apart from that, we are almost done. We just need to pass along a list of apps to pass along. So that's extremely easy. We are going to create another variable in here, which we are going to say it is an array list of the type pager object. Okay, and you'll get why I'm doing this in a second. So let's say pager app list, and we'll need to create a pager object. So it is going to be a really simple object. I'm doing this more just to make the app seem more easy, and if you want to pass along more information, then you can. So let's go ahead and create the pager object. Pager object. Okay, here we are. I'm going to simply create it. So the only thing that this object is going to contain is a private array list of the type app object. So it is going to be basically a list of app objects. So you have in the first position a bunch of app objects, which are just apps, which corresponds to the first page of the home screen. Then you are going to have in the second position a bunch of apps for the second page of the home screen, and so forth, and so on and so forth. So that way we can easily control it, and without any problems have access to it. So let's say pager object, and create the constructor for this. And we can simply go here and copy this. Say this dot app list equals to app list. Okay, and now we are going to create a function that will return to us the pager object, the app list, better yet. So get app list. Okay, it can create it for you. I didn't even know it could do that, but yeah, that's awesome. So this function, whenever you call it, it will return the app list of the position that we want. Okay, that's as easy as that, and that's exactly what we need. Okay, is an error there, let's remove that. And now let's create the array list inside of the ViewPager adapter. Okay, this pager app list equals to pager app list, and we can simply pass along the app list of each page, which is what we are going to do right now. So that's easy. We simply have to say pager app list dot get position dot get app list. So this is the goal, and this is why we created this object, and I'm going to close it because we don't need it anymore. So yeah, this is exactly what we need. And now in the main activity, an error should appear, I believe. Yeah, there we go, because we need to pass along an array list of the type pager object. And so we are going to create it right now. We are going just to place a bunch of placeholders so that we can see it working. We are not going to bother with anything else. So let's go up top and say array list of the type pager object, and say pager app list equals to new array list. Okay, and now let's just add a bunch of items to it. So let's simply say for int I equals to 0 to I smaller than 20, I plus plus. Let's say, let's create an app list first, because we are going to add one app list at a time. So yeah, let's do that. Let's say okay, array list app object, not pager object, remember. Say app list. I'm going to pass this to a non-capitalized, so app list equals to new array list. And now we are simply going to add a bunch of items to this app list, and to do that simply say app list.add new app object, and I'll pass along whichever data it needs. So I'm going to simply pass along empty strings, doesn't really matter, and just for a placeholder, let's say get resources dot get drawable r dot drawable dot IC launcher foreground, doesn't matter. This is just as a placeholder. We'll use empty images or clear images in the future, just so that we have something to add to it. And now let's say pager app list dot add new pager object app list, and simply add it to the adapter by doing comma pager app list. Okay, so that's the way we are going to run with it. I believe that's everything. We don't need to do much else. Okay, just in the get count, I was already forgetting. Simply say return pager app list dot size. This is really important, otherwise it will throw out an error and it probably won't even show anything else. And in the isView from object, you can simply say view equal object. Two equals, because this is a comparison. This will return a boolean depending on whether this view is from the object or not. Okay, so that's it. Let me just launch the app and see if any errors pop out. Okay, so here we are, and as you can see, it shows up. We are able to scroll, which is not ideal because we want to make sure that the home screen is static at this point. And yeah, but just to show you how the ViewPager works, because in here we are only seeing the grid view, I'm going to come in here and say, and duplicate or triplicate this line, and we are going to create 3 pages basically. I'm going to also make the peak height smaller for the bottom sheet behavior. And let me just launch the app. Okay, it should take no time, so let's wait. Okay, here we are. And as you can see, we are still able to scroll. That will fix in the next lessons. But we are able to scroll from left to right and right to left. So let me just check what this error was. Required method. Oh, okay, destroy method. That's important, I forgot it. Let's go into the ViewPager Adapter and just fix this really quickly. And say destroy item, and it will create the method for you. And say, can remove the return and say collection container dot remove view, and between parentheses view, and now objects. Okay, now let's launch the app again, and the error should be fixed. This is really important, make sure you have it, otherwise the app will crash. So, okay, I believe it loaded up. Here we are, and it doesn't crash anymore. And as you can see, everything shows up. And this is exactly what we wanted. There's a bug here, but that's because I have a older version, but no problem there. So yeah, this is the goal of the ViewPager. We are able to scroll left to right and right to left, just as we do with any other launcher. So yeah, that's it. I'm going to push this code to the GitHub now. And yeah, so for today, this is all. I just wanted to get everything up and running with the ViewPager. I still didn't work with specific things, like the height of the cells and things like that, but we'll do soon, so don't worry. But yeah, that's all for today. If you are enjoying this series, then please do leave a like and subscribe. It helps me a lot, and it helps this channel grow. And yeah, it is really important. So yeah, thank you all very much for watching. I hope to see you again tomorrow, and ciao.